I'm so glad to be here today with my friend Tina Smith. We're both working together in the Senate on the issue of childcare. It was bad before the coronavirus hit, but now this is a really huge problem in America. We're both moms who understand what it was like to struggle to get childcare. Now that problem has gotten a whole lot worse. So, Tina, I'm so glad you're here to talk about it.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth. It's great to be talking about this with you too. And I know that both of us have seen the impacts of a lack of childcare firsthand. I was just telling you, I'm going to become a new grandmother. One of the first things our kid had to do was to start to get in line for a childcare center in our community because there's such a shortage. And do you know that in Minnesota, 2/3 of the zip codes in our state have a shortage of childcare? They're called childcare deserts because they have only one childcare slot for every 3 children. I think it's the same nationally as well.
In more than half the states in this country, childcare costs more than going to college. Families just can't do that.
It's such an expense. It could be, 20, 30, 40% of your annual income. A lot of people don't realize this, but an average childcare provider, the workers in these childcare centers, mostly women, many of them women of color, are only making about $11 an hour, which is not enough to support a family. So you have women working in childcare centers that are literally unable to buy their own groceries while they're taking care of other people's children. And this is all part of the big problem before COVID took over and has wreaked havoc on daycare providers.
This is a real problem, and it means lots of childcare centers are just flat going to go out of business.
And so this is, Elizabeth, why you and I have teamed up to try to come up with a solution to this problem that doesn't just hope and pray that these centers will be there when we need them, but realize that we have to all be in this together to help them through this really, really challenging time.
That's right. And we have a plan for that. And the plan starts with money because we need to put more money into our childcare centers. This is basic infrastructure in this country. If we want people to be able to go back to work, if we want to get this economy started again, that means it's time for a federal investment.
And the experts told us that we need to spend a minimum of $50 billion in order to shore up this system. And you might be listening to this and saying, holy cow, that is a lot of money. How can we afford that? But I want everyone to think that we have just recently said that it was worth it to spend $50 billion shoring up just one industry in the CARES Act. And this is a sector that is thousands of jobs around the country. So I think the question is, can we afford not to do this in this moment?
That's right. We're in an emergency, and a big part of the bill that you and I have put together is to say that essential workers will be able to count on that child care and that the rest of us are going to help pay for it. We're also going to make sure that the child care providers have the money they need to meet the new expenses, the kind of cleaning and distancing that it's going to take to run child care centers going forward. I've been talking to child care providers, and you really do hear when you talk to the teachers both how much they love the work, how much they want to be there with the children, how much they want to be there to support the families, but also how grinding it has been to see their revenues drop, to see what was already a business that was just barely profitable go into the red week after week after week. It's time for us to pass our child care bill and make sure there are enough resources in child care centers that they're going to be up and operational, safe and healthy places for our children all across this country. We're going to do this thing together, Tina.
Elizabeth, let's make sure that we get this done, and we need everybody to lift up your voices and tell everybody how important this is so that we can get this bill passed and we can make sure that those child care centers are thriving on main streets across this country just like we need them to be.
Tell your story about why child care is important to you and why you support putting more resources into child care.
Awesome.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Tina, you're good to work with. I like this. All right.